What very realistic event could happen to make 2020 even worse? A Great Depression. Cats 2. Let's not give 2020 any more bright ideas, please. Edit. Thanks for the awards. But I'm down to one good arm thanks to 2020. Let's stop trying to see how it can get worse. Someone deciding now is a good time to go to war when defenses are down? Edit. And my inbox got defeated. This is border violation. Any disasters during this pandemic? Imagine if this is still spreading rapidly in April with mass quarantines, and a tornado outbreak on the likes of 2011 super outbreak hits. Injured normally have medical to go to, but if it's all filled up by sick patients, well, let's just hope it doesn't come to that. Everyone in the States, count yourselves lucky that this outbreak didn't hit in July to September and hope it gets cleared before then. Imagine if this was widespread during a Category 5 hurricane impact, when they normally tell an entire region to scram to other parts of the country. Edit. I'm well aware of comments regarding Corona still a threat in June to September. You aren't unique. Please stop leaving those comments and instead reply to those that already have done so. Thank you. Hurricane season is coming up. Internet shutdown. The PAC-NW experiences a 9.0 Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. State-sponsored hackers attacking the medical industry. If Yellowstone erupted, you might as well grab a good bottle of your choice and kick back. Can we at least get through half of 2020 before trying to outdo it? If an enormous solar flare from the sun strikes Earth, it could take out our electrical grid, internet, and almost all electronic devices. A solar flare struck in 1859 that would have caused $10 trillion worth of damages today. Giant forest fires evacuating large parts of California during the escalating coronavirus outbreak. Alright, this threat is worsening my anxiety. Another hurricane. Natural, Yellowstone erupts. Man-made, some moron decides a war is a good way to kickstart the economy after the corona disaster. I found a snake under a blanket in the bedroom. It's already happening, people. The government is trying to take away all privacy. https www.reddit.com Masterachi comments 2c4 This government wants to remove end-to-end Ute Medium Android app at source share. Unexpected solar flare completely shuts down all electronics internet for a long period, would be horrible for the quarantined. I'm in their frown. The Internet bill being passed by Congress. It effectively ends internet encryption and any perceived internet privacy. We still have https www.f.org deep links 202003 Internet bill government's not so secret plan scan every message online. Edit 1. Thanks to those who've asked what can be done. Here's how you can let your congressional rep know that you expect them to vote against the Internet bill. Please share this and please make your voice heard. https://act.f.org Action Protect Our Speech and Security Online Reject the Graham Blumenthal Bill. The big one finally happens in California that we've been warned about our entire lives. Dogs with bees in their mouth and when they bark they shoot bees at you. Random chimp event. Well, my mom died yesterday, so Therese that. Edit. Definitely did not expect to wake up to all of this. Thank you all for your support. You have no idea how much that means to me. Economy collapsing beyond repair everywhere. Another natural disaster, an insect plague, another war, another disease, etc. At this point it's amazing that we're still here and not in a grave somewhere given the circumstances of the year so far. The coronavirus could mutate to become deadlier. Or we could just realize it is deadlier or has long-term effects we didn't know about. Grocery stores are forced to close due to employees being infected by the coronavirus. China finally pulls the trigger on Taiwan or Hong Kong. A much overdue seismic big one hitting my state of California. The last catastrophic quake, as told by several tribes' lore, was in the 1700s and created Humboldt Bay. A coronal mass ejection. There was a huge one in 1859 called the Carrington event. It destroyed telegraph lines. You're probably thinking, oh, those are rare, that'll never happen again. In 2012 a similar-sized flare missed the Earth by 9 days. If one did occur, we'd only have 17 hours from release to try and minimize damage, and less time if there was a previous smaller CME before a big one which pushed most of the solar wind out of the way. There are more than 3,000 satellites in orbit at the minute. We would lose almost every single one, and the ones that don't decay in their orbits and burn up in the atmosphere might crash into each other, creating a ring of space junk around the Earth, trapping us in for the foreseeable future. You don't want to know how bad it could be on Earth. NASA is lying and that asteroid is really gonna hit Earth, but again maybe that wouldn't be so bad after all. Extinction of the bees. North Korea successfully launching a nuclear warhead that lands either in South Korea or Japan, then sparking an international incident. Or Russia invading the Baltic states. Power outages. Food shortages would start to be huge. As some with a ton of anxiety during this time, I shouldn't have read this thread. It was nice knowing you all. The Cascadia subduction zone shifts and a major earthquake wipes out a large chunk of the Pacific Northwest. Definitely a hot war. A pandemic might create enough stress to cause the Middle East to erupt. The secondary effects on society if the COVID-19 continues to increase exponentially. A lot of the strands of the fabric of society that we take for granted could start unraveling. We are in a very precarious situation. Terrorists decide to bomb important medical labs as well as the CDC and WHO. Utah is having earthquakes this week, nothing more than 6 though, so we're okay, and Utah is overdue for a massive earthquake, so these little guys could trigger it. Smiles at it, keeping my facts straight. Queen Elizabeth dies. Economies would go crazy. Corona reinfection proves to be more than a one-off event. #X200B, Ruth Bader Ginsburg doesn't make it to February. A hurricane season to rival Katrina, Sandy, etc., or a tornado season. Or a major earthquake or volcanic event, including a tsunami. A meteor is an alternative here. Random European country becomes a dictatorship. Death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Despite the shenanigans with Merrick Garland, Mitch McConnell has openly and unambiguously stated that if RBG passes this year, he absolutely intends to cram someone through. https://theal.com Homenews Senate 459-715 McConnell GOP would absolutely fill Supreme Court seat next year, affecting the balance of the Supreme Court for a generation. Gun confiscation and subsequently the Boogaloo. Congress passes a bill outlawing encryption. Good luck working from home. The asteroid that passes Earth actually hits and destroys a city or capital. Yellowstone erupts and wipes America off the map. Volcano on the island La Palma could erupt, terrorist odd activity on the island. If it does, a massive portion of it will collapse into the ocean and cause a 30-meter high tsunami to the east coast of America, west coast of Africa, Portugal, France and possibly England, Ireland, Spain. Trump re-elected. Trump is re-elected. Trumping pulling a Putin and using the current crisis as a means of installing himself as president without a term limit, and the GOP going along with it. The bell curve not flattening, more spikes in infected, COVID mutations. And that's just current stuff. Reddit becomes the de facto news source. The virus could adapt and get severely worse no matter if people survive the first infection. People's immune system is so badly weakened by this virus they are seriously ill in hospital fighting infections that they normally overcome. Like diarrhea, mild cold, mild cough. There is no cure to be found. Scientists are trying methods that have not been approved. More shocking revelations come to pass regarding its origins. Leaders of governments are rapidly replaced as each one is too ill or have died. Police are replaced by the army in more serious crimes of civil unrest, like looting and robbery of people's home for food etc. People invade mansions and public buildings for shelter. Gangs attacking the rich and privileged for their food and clothing, medication supplies etc. Money has no value. Food, medicine and other supplies are the new system of currency to buy other things desperately needed. Sort of exchange swapping system. Electric, gas, and water storage is not maintained because of deaths of skilled workers in this particular field. Nuclear power plants are not working properly due shortage of manpower. Not enough petrol due deaths of workers in the industry. The subsequent economic damage as a result of all of the restrictions. Tourism industries, restaurants, bars, pubs and clubs, entertainment workers and performers, hospitality workers, and so many more will take a massive hit to their incomes. So following an epidemic, an economic downturn and rise in unemployment could very well follow. I sure hope not, but it's possible.